Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Cooperville Live, everybody. Early edition today on a Thursday. Very special early edition of the program. Because we got a big one today. You're going to want to be a part of it. We have Kevin Martin from the multi-platinum rock band Candlebox joining the show. Renee, thank you. Have the best voice you've ever heard. I feel like I have to pay you to say that. I feel like that might be... there should be a cash exchange for that type of compliment, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you all for sharing the stream as well. Means a whole lot. Helps us spread the word because it is going to be an amazing show today. We have lots to talk about. Let's see each other. There you are. And here I am. Welcome. It is so good to see. Well, I guess I just see me and you see me, so it's a little bit narcissistic. But alas, here we are. Can't wait for today's show. I talked to Kevin Martin years and years ago when I was doing radio. We had a great conversation there. We're going to have a great conversation today. We have so much to talk about. New music, tour, new album coming out. Oof, so many things. But first, CoopervilleClothing.com. That's the brand. This is the good stuff. And we have a new drop coming tomorrow. I believe we counted it out. I think there's 13 new items dropping tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time that you're just going to love. You're just going to love them, especially if you're, I want to say, into like namaste and yogi stuff, because it's more alt yogi. It's less pretentious, a little more badass. That's coming tomorrow at 8 a.m. at CoopervilleClothing.com. So please make sure you go check that out. Also, Captain Coop's Beard Company proudly brings you the show. Beard balms, beard oils, beard butters. You can't see right now because you're seeing the screen, but this is what makes the magic happen. It is. It's got magic elixir in it, fairy dust, unicorn pea. That's not listed on the ingredients because we didn't want to give away the secret sauce. By the way, we're going to be at Riverfest with Captain Coop's full pirate garb and all coming up on August 14th. So look that up on all of our socials. It's going to be fantastic. Our first time out since the whole pandemic thing. Out in public, meeting the peeps once again with Captain Coops. CaptainCoops.com is the website. And a special thanks out to Midwest Meals. Healthy meals, counting your macros. It takes away the whole dishes thing, which I'm a huge fan of. And they have 16 signature meals. You can build your own. You can get protein by the pound. And they ship nationwide, which is even more fantastic. So wherever you're watching the show today, you can jump onto MidwestMeals.com. Use the promo code Cooper at checkout, and you get 10% off your first order. All the good stuff. What do we have this morning? We had their new breakfast sandwich. It's like chicken sausage and pepper jack cheese and bacon and some hard-boiled eggs. Good way to start the day after, of course, the long runs. So good stuff, though. Thank you all for jumping into the comments, too. You can comment on wherever you're watching, if you're on the Facebook page, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch, which all the kids are on Twitch, so that's why we joined Twitch. We wanted to be hip. It's hip to be square, as Huey Lewis once said. Note that. Also want to let you know, August 12th, Epic Willie's Adventure starts. We're shooting the documentary. We're going Missouri to Oregon in 1940s Jeeps using only the technology available in that time, which I think is basically smoke signals and like the first ever CB radio. But we're filming the whole thing, and we're not taking any paved roads, no GPS, no nothing, paper maps, and hope. No hotels, none of that stuff. Epic Willie's Adventure on Instagram. You can follow us on there, and also on Facebook. It's going to be so cool. I just went and saw the Overlander that we're rolling with yesterday. I feel really confident that we're going to make it. And then the film crew's coming along. It's going to be so awesome. Epic Willie's Adventure on all of the socials, and we're looking forward to that. We depart for Missouri on the 12th, and the OT, we're taking the Oregon Trail. Who thinks of this stuff? Not me. I just go along for the ride, for the fun. Thank you, Jake, for liking the stream. Appreciate it. Super excited. The last time I talked to Kevin Martin was it was like 6 years ago. I was doing radio. They came out with a new record. I think we're on like the record cycle. I think I talk to Kevin Martin every time they release a new album, and then get set to go on tour. This one is awesome. It is, I believe, number 7, and they're celebrating a bunch of anniversaries. I'm going to bring Kevin into the stream. There he is. How you doing, sir? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. You call, you don't call, you never write.
You know, I'm kind of a giant pain in the ass. I mean, just kind of ask everybody that I know. They're like, oh, That guy, it's hard to get a hold of. How
With
you
that,
doing, my friend?
with
It's been
that,
a while.
I'm good. That urine pee looks good on your beard.
Thank you. It really
Or
brings
unicorn pee,
unicorn
rather.
pee. It brings out the glisten. It makes me look younger, I
Yeah, how
believe.
are you, man?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself? It's a crazy week this week. What is it? It's 23 years.
Yeah.
Is it
28
23 and
years,
28?
23 years, and then 13 for Into the Sun as well.
Wow, big. And you got a new album coming out, and you got a tour that's starting. But how have you been, man? It's been a crazy 18 months, I'm guessing, for you out there.
Yeah, it's been nutty. I mean, it's I crossed the age of 50 threshold a couple years back, and my records are getting older, and my fans are getting older, and I'm getting older, and but I survived this crazy thing, man, and I'm just happy. I'm happy that things are kind of getting back to normal. I'm a little concerned about this Delta variant, but I mean, it's my whole band's vaccinated. The whole crew's vaccinated. We're hoping that that we don't get shut down midway through this tour. That's kind of the dark side of what's happening. I don't know. The Buck Cherry guys, they're locked down in Pennsylvania because of COVID, and that's the biggest fear for a band is we're out on the road and we're in the mad rush of things, and you get shut down. You got to quarantine for 2 weeks. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's I know people want to get back to normal. People want to go to restaurants, they want to go to concerts, they want to go to movies and things, and we all want to do it. We all want that normalcy back. So fingers crossed it slows down a bit.
Yeah, because this isn't a short run. I mean, there's a string of dates in August, and then really September. I mean, you're pounding pavement until November. I mean, it's nonstop.
Yeah, 8 weeks. Yeah,
that's good stuff. And you got a new album coming out, but it comes out September 17th. It's called Wolves, and but it's got to be tough because I know. Like, you guys just didn't get out of the studio like 3 weeks ago and like, we're going to send us a master and then we're going to release this thing. Like, you guys have been sitting on this record for over a year.
Almost 2 years.
Ooh, almost 2.
We started it, recording it. It was done recorded in August of 2019. I finished the vocals in January of 2020. And it was mixed and mastered in February of 2020, and then everything shut down. So, I've been sitting on this one, since recording the actual song for 2 years almost. Yeah.
That's crazy. But there's like that excitement that builds when you do have a new album and you get to go back out on tour. You get some, I mean, there's such good songs on this one. The ones that you have, allowed the public to listen to, Let Me Down Easy. Like it's you. And I feel Kevin Martin coming through, but there's this like dirty kind of swampy, like gritty rock and roll vibe to that song that I was listening to like on repeat today, and it's got such a cool vibe to it, man. I dig what you guys got going on this new record.
Thank you. It's it's kind of like we threw all of our inspirations and influences and experiences into a blender and spit it out onto a record. I mean, we didn't stop ourselves from going where we wanted. If our heart told us to go in a direction musically that we all felt, then we went there. So there's that that swampy bluesy kind of rock and roll on it. There's the pop stuff with the song that we released called My Weakness. We're kind of all over the place, man. We just wanted to make a record we wanted to make for ourselves, and we accomplished that. And I just hope that people like it as much as we do. I mean, a lot of times it's not necessarily a great thing when you appreciate your own music or your own talent. Generally that's the wrong thing to do. But we just, I think all of us are really proud of this album and excited for it to come out and excited for people to hear it. We're going to be traveling with merch, with the vinyl on the road, and we're going to be traveling with CDs on the road, which we haven't done in a long, long time. So it's going to be an opportunity for us to actually move some products, and that's what we're hoping to do, is that people will like this record enough to actually buy it and then share the word about the record.
Does that make you enjoy the process even more, going through the album recording and, and putting the music down when it's kind of free flow? You guys are in control. It's the music you want to make. It's the mood you're in. It's the sound you want to have that particular day for that particular cut. Does that make the process of putting it together, minus the 2 years you have to wait to get it out, more enjoyable when you get to do it your way?
Yeah, 100%, man. It's it just allows you to be a lot freer as an artist. You can allow yourself to go into kind of that world that a major label won't really let you go, because they want you to stay consistent with your sound, and Candlebox has great fans that have always allowed us to kind of push the envelope and experiment with different sounds and styles of music. So I just love that we've got those kinds of bands that will continue to buy the record and let us do that. That's not a normal thing for a lot of bands. A lot of bands that we grew up with, or our contemporaries, if you will, have had to kind of stick to a certain type of music, and we've been fortunate enough to be able to expand on that.
Yeah, and I think that's such a cool aspect of it, because you understand as a human, and B, as an artist, that you're not always in this particular lane. Like sometimes you're over here, and sometimes you're over here, even as a listener of music. So to be able to be the band that can take people on almost an emotional and musical journey, that's not all we're staying in our lane and we're not going to deviate, because you've known bands, I'm sure, that have deviated and their fans go, no, we need you back over here, because this is where we need you to be. But to have that fan base that kind of follows with you and says, okay, cool, I feel where we're going with this, and rides the roller coaster with you, man, that's got to be heartwarming.
It is. It feels great, man. It really does.
And the tour kicks off my birthday, which thank you for that, in Louisville, Kentucky, on August 5th. Happy birthday to me, and to kick off the tour. And to get back out on the road and to do this run of dates after whatever that was, whatever happened back there, do you feel like kicking the dust off the tires? Do you feel like you guys are like ready to go? The body's loose. You ready to kind of head out and then fire on all cylinders? Or has there been a process to get kind of prepared for the tour that kicks off in just a couple of weeks now?
It's certainly a process,
Yeah.
man. I mean, we've never gone longer than 3 or 4 months without being together as a band, and playing shows. So, certainly it's me being the singer, it's been like a lot of working out the vocal muscles,
Yeah.
and singing, and making sure that my body is physically prepared for, not only the whatever 8 shows we've got coming up in August, but that 8-week run that's happening. I haven't done an 8-week run in well over 10 years. So, it's, and with what you were mentioning, that thing that happened last year, I mean, I haven't been able to kind of do the exercising that I normally do, which is running around on stage for 2.5 hours. So, it's going to be interesting. We start rehearsals next Sunday, a week from this coming Sunday in Nashville, and it's going to be interesting to see how quickly we tire in the set.
Yeah.
All of us, because we just haven't had that that kind of mix of energy in so long. And I mean, I've been talking to the guys at least once a month. We get on a Zoom. I'm like, how's everybody doing? You running through the stuff. What are you feeling? But it's just not the same. It's
Right.
not the same as being in the room. So we'll see.
I've had other artists on the show, and they talk about that moment when they even get back into doing rehearsals, and the feeling of just being around their bandmates and playing music together in a closed room somewhere still gives them that almost going on stage feeling, because it has been so long since they've been able to, be face to face in real life with their bandmates after, an elongated period of being separate. So I'm sure even the rehearsals will be kind of that, that excitement level will go through the roof a little bit. And
for a minute.
Like we're gonna need another one of these. Put these in the books.
I remember why you irritate me.
This is why we only Zoom once a month, is that's even on the computer. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of that. With all these dates, and we talked about the anniversaries. Happy Pills at 23, the self-titled debut at 28, the band at 30 coming up in October. When you look at this run of dates that's on here, do you have like any that are? I know we'll talk about the last 2 a little bit, but any that are circled on the tour schedule that you're like looking forward to that one? I'm sure all of them, but those like, oh, I remember this time at this place. Do you have any special memories of some of the places that you're going to get a chance to go back and play again this year?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, really, all of these venues and all of these shows are special just because we haven't been to these towns in a long, long time.
Yeah.
I mean, coming to Iowa, I'm really looking forward to that. It's one of my favorite states. I've got some great family friends there that I'm looking forward to seeing that are luckily healthy. Louisville, the Mercury's always one of my favorite venues. I'm excited to get back to the House of Blues venues that we're playing in the States. I would say, Austin, Texas, and San Antonio are very special to me because I grew up down there before I moved to Seattle when I was 14. So those two shows are particularly special because I have so many friends from high school that I'm going to be able to catch up with, which I'm looking forward to. But honestly, and the Fonda here in
Yeah.
Los Angeles, which is a venue that I've been wanting to play, um, going on 25 years of my career, I've wanted to play there. So I'm really looking forward to that.
We talking about longevity and being able to do it in the music industry for going on 30 years and still have staple songs on rock radio and I remember every single human being that I ever encountered in my teens had the self-titled debut album. Everybody had it. It was either on cassette tape, remember those, and CDs.
Yeah.
Remember those? Remember back in the day when we used to have music that you didn't just yell at your robot to play? Those were the good old days.
Yeah.
But to have a song like Far Behind, which I know was written for Annie Wood, Mother Love Bone, a song that I did 20 years in rock radio that always resonated. There was never a burn factor to it as far as like listenership goes. It always it continued to resonate, now 28 years into the process. Now for you and a song like that and some of the stuff that came out in the early days of Candlebox, do you still enjoy getting a chance? I mean, maybe now because it's been a minute, but do you still enjoy getting a chance to go out and play those songs for the fans?
Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I still love playing. You is my favorite song by
Yeah.
Candlebox. I love to play that one live. But yeah, I mean, I guess for me, because I'm so emotionally attached to everything that I write, there's only one record that I really don't particularly look forward to, singing songs off of, and that's Lucy, just because there's kind of a lot of emotional pain that goes into me thinking about the making of that record. Although when we start playing the songs like Simple Lessons, Understandings, and whatnot, I remember why we wrote them and why we recorded them, and why I love them. But it's one of those ones that I'm kind of like, I just would like to just not have to play that. And of course, that's what we're doing in Seattle at the end of the year. The two shows we're playing, we're celebrating 25 years of that record, 26 now. But so I'm going to have to, reacclimate my love for that album. But yeah, it's really just every single song, man. I've never recorded a record until I was ready to record it. I've never written a song until I was ready to write it, and I never sang a song until I was ready to sing it. So I really just love the opportunity to do all of them. I mean, I wish I could sit down, at some point and sing 67 songs back to back, but that certainly wouldn't happen. But I would love that opportunity. That's a pretty good catalog for me, and to think that for 30 years now, coming up on 30 years of starting a band, that I've been given that opportunity. It's shocking to me, man. I'm just so grateful that I had something to say, that the music allowed me to sing to it, and that the fans appreciate it. So I'm never, during a show, I'm never like, God, I don't want to fucking do that, or I'm like, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to do this one. That's what I do, and that rarely happens, but it does happen. But it's only because I want to play something differently, or want to play a different song.
What do you think is I don't want to say secret, but what is it that makes longevity in the music industry it's tough. It's something you rarely hear about, especially now in 2021 with the industry the way it is. But what do you think is the real secret sauce? Not unicorn piss. That's not it. But what's the secret to having longevity and to still wake up and have that appreciation for every single thing that you got to do, every song that you have written, every show that you played and got to be a part of? What makes the 30 years like still give you the jazz to go out and put out this new record, Wolves, which comes out again September 17th for all of those of you who are paying attention, and the tour kicks off August 5th. Like what keeps the drive going and keeps you going in music and in the industry?
Well, I think it's honesty and sincerity. I live my life, and I live my life with no regrets. I move forward with my foot on the pedal, and I want to live my life to its fullest. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. Last year I lost one of my best friends at the ripe old age of 51 of a heart attack, which it was mind blowing for me. It was I just I expected to be able to see him, the next day and hang out with him. So I've always lived my life to its absolute fullest every single chance I get, and I think that that's kind of why maybe people love our music and what I sing about is because there is sincerity and honesty to that and to what I sing about and the way I live my life. And I'm not afraid of anything. I don't live in fear of upsetting a fan by something I say. I have an opinion, and if you listen to my band, you're certainly going to be privy to my opinion. uh, but that's how I live my life, and I've never lived in fear of losing my audience or lived in fear of writing a bad song. I just kind of embrace it and take it day in day out and run as fast as I can when I run, and I walk as slow as I want to walk when I walk.
When you look at the genre of rock and roll, which is pretty broad these days, what is your take on the kind of the music that's coming out nowadays and the vibe that it has, and I'm not sure if opinion is the right word that it has, because it seems to be kind of put into a box. I mean, just for me, my perspective is it's put in this box and here's where you stay and here you go out and sell some records. Like, what are your thoughts on the rock and roll genre in 2021?
Well, there's certainly some bands that are making some noise that's pretty cool. I know that there are a lot of fans out there of Dirty Sweet, Rival Sons, Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah.
It's not really my cup of tea, but I do think that they're really talented musicians. I just don't know if anybody has remembered that the reason we got into rock and roll, or the reason rock and roll started, is a very dangerous concept, and danger doesn't exist in rock and roll anymore. Bands are afraid of offending an audience. They're afraid of offending a radio station or a podcast, or if somebody happens to be listening to something they say. And then of course you've got cancel culture, which is a whole other ball of BS.
Yeah.
I wish that bands would stop apologizing for things. I got upset years ago when Five Finger Death Punch apologized for a show they had in Memphis because I guess their singer, I don't know what his name is, but he lost his marbles on stage, and they had to cancel the show. And I just was like, man, you don't have to apologize. Musicians are human beings, and we go through what we go through. Guns N' Roses never apologized for anything.
No.
And I don't think Metallica did until they got sober, and that was the beginning of the end. But I just found that really just, God, man, don't do that.
Yeah.
Just be who you are. If your singer loses his marbles and you guys got to walk off stage, then just say, you know what, he had a bad day, and we'll be back. Don't be, gosh, we're so sorry, he's gonna seek therapy and all this kind of things. Like, man, that's not rock and roll. Rock and roll is dangerous. And I'm not trying to harp on Five Finger Death Punch. I think it's interesting that you would apologize if your band name is Five Finger Death Punch, but just be honest and be who you are. And rock and roll should be dangerous. It's what it's supposed to be. Slipknot is, they're a case study. Those guys, you got far right Republicans, far left Democrats in that band. You got some crazy shit happening in that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got to beep that out, but
No.
that's what you look for in rock and roll. And where are those bands now? Why don't they exist anymore? And what is this that's happening with Octane Radio, where every single song sounds exactly the same?
Yeah.
Why is that happening? Why are you making that kind of music, man? There's so many other things you could be doing. We have already had that band. We don't need another band like that. And that's again, this is my opinion.
No, I'm
just my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to apologize for it, but that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, don't live your life in fear. And certainly if you're an artist, don't. Art is supposed to be controversial, and it's supposed to challenge the mind and open things and break things, and that's what it is.
Yeah, I think they're in the industry, and again, 20 years in radio and being a program director and getting music that comes in, and you, over the course of time, you realize that somebody found the cookie cutter, and that original cookie found success, and all of a sudden they're like, if you fit inside of this cookie cutter, guess what? You're going to aspire to, the original cookie. And everybody just started to mimic that, whether they were on a label or not. They're like, well, this band is successful. It became more about, how can I get my song on the radio? How can I get on the big tours? How can I get the big festivals? How can I do all these things, instead of, I want to go out and make music that has a point and purpose. I mean, you being a part of, with Candlebox and that the 90s Seattle scene, obviously you guys had a little bit of a different vibe to your sound, but I mean, that changed the country. I mean, everybody was wearing spandex and using white rain like a son of a bitch up until, Nirvana comes out, and everybody like, wow, I thought everybody was having it, nothing but a good time over here. But I guess people actually have emotion and feeling, and they're not all that great. And somebody's finally explaining that. So that seems to have been lost on a lot of the newer artists, because they found a way to get success and to get traction, and it isn't really that mind-blowing.
Well, yeah, and you're absolutely right. I mean, there are a lot of great bands right now. Don't get me wrong. They're just, people aren't hearing them. It's just radio is really, really guilty of this cookie cutter that you're speaking of the vanilla ice cream. It's like radio became Breyers, and all they've produced is vanilla ice cream, and somehow everybody got comfortable eating that. And it's like, oh, this is vanilla, and I had this yesterday. It tastes exactly the same, and that's great. I love the taste of vanilla. But when you get Neapolitan and you get a little strawberry and chocolate in there, I mean, all of a sudden you've got all sorts of magic happening. Yeah. And there are some great, great bands out there. I think one of the worst things that happened in the rock and roll community was these buy-ons that bands were doing to get on these major tours. And I understand it. It pays for a band's tour bus. Like if you're, I don't know, let's say you're In This Moment, or one of those types of bands who, has a rather large crew that they're touring with, and a band wants to buy on for, $20,000 for the 6 weeks, or whatever it is, that'll pay for the bus or offset some salaries. And, that's fine if you choose to do that. But what it does is it diminishes the value of your brand or your band, because that band may not be any good. They may have 25 grand and they're going on before you, and it's covering expenses. But the job of an opening band is to push you further, and to make you work harder, and to make you sound better. And I think that's why we toured with Living Colour, we toured with Rush, we toured with Metallica, we toured with Henry Rollins, for God's sakes, in Europe. And it was our job to make those bands better. Or work harder, and also it's our job to learn more. And we didn't buy onto those tours. Those bands asked us to do it because they liked us and they loved our music. And I think that's just the difference now. Of course, with Nirvana and the changes that they made in music, and Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Screaming Tree, Mudhoney. The Seattle music scene was something that we'll never ever see again. I'm so grateful that Candlebox was able to be a part of that, even though, being 5 years in age younger than a lot of those guys, I'm surprised we even had a chance to do it. But it's really just, if bands want to do something special right now, stop trying to sound like everybody else. Listen to gospel music. Learn about the greatness of chords and the greatness of rock and roll, and what music's supposed to do to your soul, instead of trying to do what some other band's done.
Yeah, man. Couldn't agree more. Dude,
hallelujah.
Praise the Lord. We have solved all of the problems here today. Kevin Martin, man, it's great to catch up with you. Super excited for the new album. Wolves comes out on September 17th. You can pre-order it at candleboxrocks.com. The tour kicks off on August 5th in Louisville. Summerfest, you guys are going to be down in Milwaukee, just a couple hours south of us for that show. The city's going to be still crazy after the Bucks won the championship. I mean, Bucks in 6. And also, little known fact about myself and Kevin Martin, both sold shoes at one point in our lives.
That's awesome.
Look at us now. Hey, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Good luck on the tour. Hopefully we'll catch up with you guys on one of those dates, and can't wait to catch up with you again, man. Take care of yourself. Thanks for the great talk today.
Thanks, Cooper. See you, buddy.
Take care of yourself. There you go. The man, the myth, the legend, Candlebox frontman Kevin Martin on the show today. Thank you, all of you. Sorry we didn't get too much of the chat over here. It was kind of fizzing in and out. We'll get to some of that. Kathy Piercy says hi. Hello, Kathy. Heather Shaw because they only make money. It seems that it's not about art anymore. It's about profit and mainstream appeal. Couldn't agree more with that. But it makes it it's the easy road, I think. I mean, imagine being a part of that the 90s grunge scene like Candlebox was, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, all the bands, Mudhoney. Oh man, I haven't listened to Mudhoney in forever. Now I got to go listen. They changed things, you know. They didn't set out to be like, man, I can't wait till I have my big house and my big car and a big tour bus. They were like, fuck it, we're gonna go make some things happen, and they did. One more time, Wolves is the new Candlebox album. It comes out on September 17th, and the tour starts on August 5th. It's my birthday. Yay, whoop whoop. In Louisville, and they're traveling all over. Short run in August, but then they start 8 weeks in a row in September and ends in Seattle. 2 back-to-back dates. One's acoustic and one's plugged in. Again, they're doing the full Lucy album and original lineup for that too. So cool stuff going on. Check out candleboxrocks.com for all the info and find them on social media. Thank you all for tuning in. I know it was an early show today, and we kind of rocked through things, but it was great to have Kevin on and catch up with him. And yeah, we both sold shoes. He started Candlebox, and I got into radio. I think he wins. Y'all take care of yourselves. We will be back. We have a big week coming up next week. I just want to give you a heads up on that. A bunch of great guests are going to be joining the show. Make sure you follow us on all the social medias to find out who is going to be on. It is at Cooperville Live on Facebook and on Instagram. And wherever you're watching right now, please make sure you subscribe to the show, like the page, hit the notification button. All the things that people on the internet tell you to do, you should do for us, because we have cool moments like that with Kevin Martin of Candlebox. So until then, take care of yourselves. We are out of here. Enjoy a sweaty afternoon. Sweaty. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it. Devil horns in the air.